Hello everyone and welcome to the virtual and very foggy Nashville Superspeedway. It is Horizon IndyCar time here on the P1 Broadcasting Channel. You got Mark Murphy, you've got the wreck, Ryan Eric King, and we're here to bring you 135 laps of IndyCar action. It is the penultimate. Ryan, if I can't talk, this is going to be a long night. The penultimate round of the Horizon IndyCar Series. You know, tell the fans what they've won this evening. Ryan, can you hear me? We seem to have lost Ryan Eric King. Ryan, can you hear us? Anyway, so we have won 130.
Yep, I can hear you. You were kind of breaking up for me for a bit.
Yeah, no worries. There's an internet issue that we were talking about. So kind of tell the fans what they've won tonight here at Nashville.
Yeah, we're here in Nashville at a 1.33 mile oval. It's unlike a lot of the places we go to on the schedule. This place is paved over in concrete, which it's not quite ice, but it's on the way there, and it can cause a bit of trouble for people who don't know how to maneuver their way around the corners.
It most certainly can. This track, of course, paved in concrete. It was originally opened in 2001 by Dover Motorsports, which the owners of the Monster Mile, Dover, Delaware, they also built the Gateway racetrack in St. Louis. Nashville was part of their expansion plans. They also owned the Memphis Motorsports Park at one point. And this track is not actually in Nashville. It's in Lebanon, Tennessee. So out a little bit. Like I said, opened in 2001, and it's played host to the IndyCar Series essentially from its beginning. The track did not have NASCAR dates at its inception, and so it found a willing IndyCar Series, then run by Tony George, and in the throes of the split, to be its main tenant. And IndyCar was the anchor tenant here for a very long time. The track holds about 30,000 people in that main grandstand and those wing grandstands. The other part of it is, Ryan, there's a Firestone manufacturing facility just right down the road from here. There are car plants all over Tennessee. And so this track was actually very well attended while it had Indy cars here. The Nashville Street Race was very popular. It might have been the only place in the mid-2000s that you could have gone in the South or even outside the state of Indiana, and a number 3 sticker in somebody's window meant Helio Castroneves and not Dale Earnhardt. Indy cars are very popular in Nashville, and this track came back to the schedule after the street race around the football stadium could be no longer. They are, of course, replacing the stadium for the Tennessee Titans. They're building a new one in the parking lot. Since the race took place in the parking lot, Ryan, they had to move the race back out to an actual racetrack, and so that's where it is now. And once again, very well attended. So I look forward to it, Ryan, but this track is very narrow, is it not?
Yeah, it's very narrow. You definitely feel it on corner exits in turns 2 and 4, where naturally, obviously, you want to apex the corner on the inside and then drift out to the outside. When you're drifting out to the outside here, it feels like the wall is coming right at you.
You know, it does. The other thing is the dirty air here, and we talk about that a lot in IndyCar races. The dirty air is manifest on every oval. It is very, very much in evidence here with the IR18 package, especially since we're using the superspeedway package here at Nashville. That is not what they use in real life. In life, they use the intermediate oval or the shoulder oval package here. Helps them deal with the dirty air a little bit. But we're with the speedway wings here, so these cars are trimmed out like they are at Texas. It is very, very difficult to pass. The other bit of that, though, is that we are about half a second quicker than the track record. The outright lap record here at Nashville is owned by Sam Hornish way back 2003. The Firestone Indy 200, 22.968 seconds. Right now, Gary Lovern has the pole, 22.555. 207, 276 on the speed. And so we're actually going faster than they do in real life here. And that is simply down to the aero package. But you know what else we've got, Ryan?
What do we got?
We got a grid, my man. We have a grid. On the pole, that man right there, Gary Lovern. He's up there with he's up there again with the pole speed at 207, 276. Matt Wagner is going to beat his outside. Kyle Clintworth, the Clindy, and his fans are here in evidence tonight. Ryan Clindy is going to start third. Josh Ward, his outside. He's only got 2 races left as the Wednesday night champion. He'll be replaced with that honor. More on that later. Yari Brubaker is going to go 5th. Craig Forsyth is 6th. Good to see MC Mark Cohn. He's going to start 7th in the 39. He'll have Nick Wheeler to his outside. The Wheels is going to go on the outside of row 4. Alex Miller, and there's the man, Will Stearns. He's going to go in 10th. In 11th, Hugo Gilles. Brian Greenlee is going to be 12th in the Black Rifle Coffee Car. Mason Mitchum, he's going to be 13th. There's Mason with BRL on the side. You've got Jeff Heisong in the In-N-Out Burger Special. He is 14th. Micah Mixer, that's a new name for us, Ryan. He's going to go 15th. Joseph Morales is going to be shotgun on the field. You see Shane Coker listed. Shane is race control, and if we see race control on the track tonight, Ryan, I think we've probably done something wrong.
Yeah, we're probably going to need a couple red flags if we have race control out in track.
If race control is on the track, you can assume that that there is big trouble. But we're getting ready to get out of here and start what essentially is a 175 miler, Ryan, about, or is it 200 full? You're gonna have to do the.
I actually have to get my calculator.
You know, you're supposed to know these things. You're the analyst, right? You're supposed to analyze. And part of that includes doing math for me because I am not good with the mathematics. We're going to get on board Gary Lovern here just as we roll around. And just because I want to show the fans at home what this looks like.
Yeah, we're just short, but I'm pretty sure the advertised distance tonight would be 180 miles.
180 miles. So if it was a NASCAR race, they would call it a 500 mile. But we're going to go 135 laps. They would have to find some way to put 500 in there, right? You remember the old marketing trick? If it wasn't 500 miles, they would make it 500 kilometers and then advertise it as 500 miles. Those were always fun.
Yeah.
But we're on board with Gary Lovern for good reason. And that's because I just kind of want to show everybody. It looks very wide. The groove here, though, is very narrow. If you're looking at the concrete, you really want to stay below those 2 seams. Where Gary is, or lower, right around the bottom, or you're going to be in deep trouble. Here is the start of the race. Barney has the green flag. We've got Mike Rigney, April, Paula Scory in the house, the racing line, Craig Segerman. Thank you all for tuning it in. The green flag is out, and we are underway here at the Nashville Speedway.
We already have some moves to try to get down to the bottom.
Yeah, you definitely want to get off. You definitely want to get on that bottom. Yari Brubaker start from the pit lane. He is on the track, but Yari is 16th with the pre-race penalty. Matt Wagner has taken the lead off of Gary Lovern and looking to follow suit on the bottom. That's the Clindy, Kyle Clinworth. They've got Lovern hung out there at the top, Ryan.
Yeah, you don't want to be at the top.
Speaking of the
running
top,
that top line effectively, you're usually going a bit too fast.
Yeah, and part of the struggle here is real because you need to be in clean air. The car will not turn without it. So the temptation to go up there to the top, Ryan, is huge. The problem with going up top is you have to run harder when you're up there, and that will absolutely destroy the tires. The concrete surface here is very, very abrasive. We saw one guy up there, that was Hugo Gales. Hugo got up too close to that outside retaining wall, and he just did scrape it going down the backstretch on lap 1. Hugo has dropped to 14th. There are 16 cars entered, and so he is more or less shotgun on the field from that mistake. There is your leaderboard. We'll get that up for our fans at home. Watching Gary Lovern, he's second. He's got a mirror full of Kyle Clinworth. Now, Ryan, Mike Rigney raises a good point. Gary Lovern has been running very, very well lately. We're gonna put Clindy down to the inside of Gary. He's gonna try to shuffle him back to third. Gary Lovern ran very well in the ISRA race on Monday. He was on the podium last night in Area 51. He's got it going tonight, man. He started on the front. He started with a pole. He's running third, battling for second, running third. Matt Wagner sets the fastest lap, but he's been running exceptionally well lately, Ryan. Keep an eye on the Velocity Online racing machine of Gary Lovern.
Yeah, when you're hot, you're hot. And on iRacing, it doesn't matter if you're racing at one venue or another. If you get a good result, it'll give you the confidence to do well at other places.
That's true, and I kind of do want to point out as well for our fans at home, and we're going to get up in the P1 airship and show you the whole field. I do want to kind of just point out to our fans that a lot of leagues have been to Nashville recently. So a lot of these competitors, you'll see familiar names: Kyle Clinworth, Gary Lovern, Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth, Nick Wheeler, Hugo Gallas. A lot of these drivers have been to Nashville very, very recently. If I recall, the Velocity Online Racing Series was here last Saturday. I know that the ISRA Series has been here recently, and so and it's also been on the official schedule within the last couple of weeks. And so the more familiar with the racetrack you are, the better you're going to be. And Gary Lovern was fast in that VOR race on Saturday. He's very fast right now.
Yeah, but we're going to have to see if he can get back up to Matty Wagner out in the lead.
Yeah, that's going to be a tall order. We're gonna kind of go through the field here a little bit. That's going to be a tough order because Wags has the clean air, and when you've got the clean air at Nashville, you are very, very, very much able to drive away. There's Matty Wagner though. He is in the number 6 machine. He's going to lead it. Gary Lovern we have shown and talked about. Velocity Online Racing for Gary Lovern. There's Kyle Clinworth, the Clindy, in the number 11 chrome black and teal Votive Racing League Special for Rogue Racing. And then right behind him, the old pro, Craig Forsyth. He wound up the beneficiary of my error last night, Ryan, and took the win off the VOR team of Gallas and Lovern. I hit the collapse the weight jacker button a fraction of a second too soon and wiped Matty Wagner out. We were going to win the race, but
oh no.
Forsyth the beneficiary. Josh Ward is 5th in his familiar blue and lime green machine. There's Nick Wheeler in 6th in the 88th. Another Votive Racing League car. Alex Miller is 7th. TMR on the side of his machine. There's Mark Cohn, and good to see Mark Cohn and Mike Rigney, absolutely. Will correct the record as he does and as he is entitled to do. They did run here in the Truck Series, which was massive fun. If you haven't seen that series, the ISRA on the in their truck and Xfinity stuff, go back in the archives and look at that, guys. That was mega fun, and I got to call some of those races too. So that was big fun. But there's MC. He is 8th, and it's good to see him back in the car after an absence. Will Stearns runs 9th, and he has a boatload of trouble in the form of the 52 of Micah Mixer. And Micah, that's a car that we have not seen yet, Ryan. But Sim Builder looks like I don't know. I can't quite read the side of it. Let's see. Punju on the side? Is that what it looks like to you, Ryan? I can't.
Oh.
It's awful tough to see it. The Pun Crew. Okay. But that's Micah Mixer. Good to see new faces. Here's Brian Greenlee. Greenlee runs along for Black Rifle Coffee. In 11th, Mason Mitchum is 12th, and he has a rearview mirror full of Yari Brubaker, and there goes Yari. Now, if you remember, Ryan, Yari started this race on the pit lane. He's already up to 12th. So moving forward is Yari Brubaker. Hugo Galles brushed the wall earlier. In the Velocity Online Racing Machine, he runs 14th. Jeff Heisong. In-N-Out Burgers, he is 15th. And Joseph Morales is going to be shotgun on the field. And so that is the field that we've got tonight. The battle is at the front, though, Ryan. Clindy, throwing it down the inside of Gary Lovern one more time.
They're still hanging it side by side. Can Clindy get clear?
Ooh, Craig Forsyth, big loose off of turn number 3. Turn number 4. He's going to give up a position to Josh Ward. We got to go back and look at that one again. A moment for Craig Forsyth coming off of turn number 2. And that's easy to do. You see how close he is, Ryan, to Clindy and Gary Lovern. Just all that dirty air, and I bet you a shiny new dime that Craig's got all the weight jacker and maybe some rear bar dialed into that baby, and he took it for a full 4-wheel drift through turn number 2. Thankfully, he saved it. We'll get on board and watch Craig, just so the fans at home can see the fancy wheel sawing.
Yeah, we saw a lot of it in practice where the drivers were testing how far they could push a weight jacker before not being able to control the car and exit.
Yeah, I think Craig found that limit well saved. Well saved. You kind of see him. The trick to saving one of these cars, as you know, Ryan, is to not overreact with the wheel. So, just you want to counter steer it, but you don't want to counter steer it very much. Ground effect cars do not like being corrected. And so you just kind of get out of the power a little bit, let it slide, it'll correct itself. You don't want to start sawing on the wheel because then you'll wind up in the fence. Meanwhile, Kyle Clinworth has gone back to the inside of Gary Lovern, who had reclaimed the second spot briefly. Lovern has been very loyal to that high side, Ryan.
Yeah, because when you're on the high side, yes, you do have to trust that the car on the inside does not plow up the track into you. But you do put yourself in a position where whoever's trying to overtake you can't drive off the corner and drive away.
It's a lot like Richmond in that way here at Nashville, where if you can get on the high side and you can run that high groove, the guy behind you might be faster and he might get the bottom, but you can keep him pinned down there, and you can't really complete the pass. Clindy is obviously one of the most trustworthy people in the community. And he just now clears Gary Lovern, but that took him 20 laps of trying to do it.
Oh, and it was an easy move done, but Gary's right there. Gary could fight back easily.
He could, but now Gary Lovern, he's been running that high side. That's gonna hurt the tires a little bit. He's gonna drop right back into the clutches of Josh Ward. The best news for Lovern, though, is that Josh Ward, by running that bottom, he's gonna have to be in the dirty air of Kyle Clinworth, and that's going to help Gary Lovern. But Ward, he's not going to pay any attention to that. He's going to throw it to the bottom, see if he can't make a bid for third. Shane Coker, by the way, do want to thank Shane joining us from the race control booth. I hope, Shane, you have an easy night. He said that P1 is broadcasted at Nashville so much recently that he took it off of the votive schedule for season 3. That might be a good idea. There are tracks, Ryan, that we do get tired of. Is there one that we went to so much that you got tired of it? You said, man, not this place again?
I think for a while, like as much as I enjoy driving there, I do well there. Gateway gets a lot of use in IndyCar leagues.
It does, because it's different, right? It's different, and it's a different challenge, and it's very much a driver's track. Josh Ward trying to pump it to the bottom of Kyle Clinworth. Micah Mixer has gotten around Will Stearns as well toward the back. Do want to leave it here. This is the battle for third. Don't want to back away from that. Kyle Clinworth has run the fastest lap of the race. So for all you Clindy fans out there, he has just run the fastest lap, 23:165. He is still better than 1.1 seconds behind Matt Wagner in the lead. And I would guess, based on the lap times, that Wags is saving fuel. For me, and this is going to sound sacrilege for everybody in the audience. And so, yes, feel free to get in the chat and flay Murph. Please feel free. Sharpen your keyboard, sharpen your fingers, get the keyboard ready. For me, the track that gets old is Indianapolis.
You can't say that on April 30th.
You can. There are 24 hours, 15 days, 38 minutes, and 28 seconds until the green flag drops. I I am looking forward to it. It's always a bit warmer in the Murphy house. Oh, we got a crash! Ward and Lovern. Ward, end over end. Lovern hard in the wall. Forsythe's going to miss him. That's going to be Nick Wheeler getting through on the bottom, but a big, big crash. Poor Gary Lovern, and Josh Ward is over on his lid. There you see him. Lovern is all the way up against the wall going down the front stretch. And he's got to arc it down to make the front straight. And I don't think that Josh knew he was going to come. And there's the contact. Gary Lovern might be able to get his car fixed, but the automobile for Josh Ward is toast. I hope you are not in VR for this one, Ryan.
Yeah, because when you go tumbling down the front stretch of any track like that, it is a wild ride.
It is definitely a wild ride. There he goes, and you're going to be on board. Thank you, thank you to the man upstairs that this is pixel car racing and not real. Also, thanks to also got to thank ATVO for allowing us to slow this down to 1/3 time. Because that's one of those deals. If you're in VR, you better close your eyes. Josh Ward, a wild ride. He was trying to imitate me last night from. Imitate me last night from the Area 51 finale where I crossed the finish line on my lid. Did my best Stroker Ace impression. This was a little bit too soon for that, though, Ryan.
Yep, far too soon.
It was indeed. Meanwhile, wholesale pit stops have been affected. Nick Wheeler, he stayed out. And so Wagner, Clinworth, Forsythe, Miller, they are the remainder of your top 5 coming off the pit lane. Gary Lovern is 6th, Mark Cohn 7th, Micah Mixer, he's going to be 8th, Yari Brubaker 9th, Will Stearns going to round out your top 10. And Ryan, we're getting ready to get back into the big time. I know I said that Indianapolis was the track I get tired of. I do tire of driving it, just because it seems like in the sim we spend about 6 weeks there in April and May, and then a lot of leagues run a mid-year 500 in November. It is as is the tradition. The IndyCar community we're at Indianapolis over Thanksgiving for official races, and so it just seems like we're there so much. But I get it. Right? It's Indy. I love it. 24 hours, 24 days, 15 hours, and 35 minutes now, Ryan. Who's counting? And Rick Ravon, he's in. And Rick, it's not that I tire of it. I feel like we spend a lot of time there. I think last year in sim, I turned more laps at Indianapolis than every other track combined, and I race almost every night. So that's how much we're there. Do want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors, of course, the Horizon IndyCar Series, Whiplash SimCams, for providing the amazing angles. We're gonna give Mike Rigney his favorite view, since Mike's in the chat. There you go, Mike. We'll put you on top of the tower, brother. And there you see the field, and we'll watch a lap. This would be this view would be if you are standing on the very top of the suites. We're back to green. Racing has resumed here at Nashville. Nick Wheeler's got the lead. It's going to be interesting to see how long he can keep it.
Yeah, we're going to really see the power of the clean air here, and hopefully he can use it to his advantage.
Yeah, Matt Wagner, you can tell he wasn't... Matt Wagner, you could tell he was very, very much... We got a black flag for Joseph Morales. I'm going to guess that's some sort of a pit lane penalty. Mason Mitchum has affected his fast repair. Josh Ward has disconnected. Gary Lovern, he got the fast repair. Gary got back out in 6th place. How about that, Ryan? But Mason Mitchum,
wow,
Nick Wheeler, has the lead. He's not giving it up. Matt Wagner hasn't been in dirty air all day. That means that Kyle Clinworth is going to have the opportunity to pull right up on the gearbox of the man who led the first 33 laps of this event. We'll see if Clindy can get past and maybe get on toward at least corporately sponsored teammate Nick Wheeler.
Yeah, because they know Nick Wheeler's out of sequence. They for Clinworth, this is the best chance at taking the lead effectively.
It is, and this is going to be a good read too for us in the booth. I did not check fuel. It is a short fuel tank here. And so I believe it's 80. Is it 80 or 90%, Ryan? But Nick Wheeler is going to be approaching a green flag pit stop now. Depending on how he works this, he might be able to go until about lap 50 or so. Depending on how he works this could be a huge advantage for Nick, or it could be a huge issue. He was running in the lower part of the top 10 before the pit stops, and so if he's able to come out, get the fresh boots, and get himself some hot laps and clean air, he might be able to leap a ton of people. But he's going to need a cycle and then another yellow, because I don't think he can make it on one more stop. And I'm pretty sure that everybody else that stopped at lap 33, that they're going to be able to make it with just one more visit to the pit lane.
You are 100% correct about that, because it is 80% fuel tonight. He's going to need a lot of help to make this work out. It won't net him a win tonight, but he'll definitely jump a lot of spots if he can get this to work. If he can
get it to work and he catches the yellow light at the right time, absolutely. There's Gary Lovern. He's going to be in 6th place. He's got Alex Miller and Craig Forsyth right in front of him. Remember, Lovern was your pole sitter. He also took a wild ride down the front stretch off of the right front of Josh Ward. He got the Velocity Online Racing machine with its fast repair. Gary Lovern has it back in 6th place. Meanwhile, Alex Miller and Craig Forsyth are going to battle right in front of him. And why not get in the best seat in the house? That's on top, the roll hoop of Gary Lovern, watching the battle for 5th. Something you'll notice, fans, and we'll put the telemetry up, something you'll notice, Gary is shifting in the corners. He's going down to 4th gear. That's going to do two things, Ryan. That's going to help him rotate the automobile when he gets back on throttle. But it also keeps it in the power band. Helps him accelerate a little bit more.
Here. You don't want to bog down the engine on corner exit. That is the worst feeling in the world.
It is, and you want to look at the RPM indicator, 11.5, 11.7, 11.9. When you see 12, that means it's time to pull the lever on the right and get another gear. But you need to keep it above 11,000 RPMs really if you want to have any kind of acceleration. It does though burn a little bit more fuel when you do that, Ryan.
That is true. Obviously, it might not be an issue tonight with the short tanks and the added stops, but it is something you want to keep in mind.
I'll tell you what, Craig Forsyth needs to keep Gary Lovern in mind. That's a power move to the top. Gary can't quite make it stick, and he's going to fall into the clutches of Micah Mixer. Micah's going to have that preferred line on the top. Lovern's going to have to be very careful about dirty air, and he gets it fed to him by Craig Forsyth. Move Micah Mixer very opportunistically up to the 6th position. He'll go to work now on the old pro Craig Forsyth. Meanwhile, I do want to get back up here and give Nick Wheeler his due. Wheels did not pit under that last stop. We are 47 laps into the current run. Ryan, it's about time for him to make a visit to the pit lane. But how long can he go? That's going to be the question. If he can make it much further, that one stop might still be in play for Nick Wheeler after this.
Yeah. Like with the advantage he currently has, he's going to want to stretch it out for as long as possible. Basically, run the tank and try.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Nick Wheeler right now, everybody else has got 15 laps on the tires. You are absolutely trying not to touch the off button on your mic while you're talking, but you are absolutely playing for a yellow flag right here. With 16 laps on everybody's tires, they're going to hit the pit lane for a new set, and that's going to keep you in the lead, but Wheeler can't go anymore. 49 laps with 4 laps of yellow was the answer. Nick Wheeler peels off of the racing surface onto the access road. He'll go down the pit lane. They must enter the pits using the entrance at turn number 3, and the long, slow drive begins, Ryan. 45, 55 miles an hour down this pit lane. And there you see Wheeler, and he might be out of gas because I see it dropping down into the 40s. So it might be coughing, Ryan.
Probably. Pretty much the hope when you pit here on the green is you don't want to go 2 laps down because you're definitely going 1 down.
We're going to follow it. We're going to see where Nick Wheeler comes out. There he is. He's already 1 lap down. And let's see off the gearbox, where is Matty Wagner? Wags has assumed the lead one more time. Looking off the back of Nick Wheeler, I do not see Matty Wagner. And so he's going to be about 1.5 laps in arrears is Nick Wheeler. Wagner is going to lead it. He's got Clinworth in close attendance. The Hornet's Nest, though, is back here around 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. We've got Jari Brubaker in the frame. Jari has joined the fight in 7th. And so from 4th, that's Alex Miller. Micah Mixer has made it to 3rd. Alex Miller, 4th. Forsyth is going to make a bid for that 4th spot. You've got Lovern in 6th. Jari Brubaker in 7th. Mark Cohn is about 1.2, 1.3 seconds back there. But this is the battle on the racetrack. This is more or less a third of the field here, Ryan, and they're all trying to occupy the same bit of real estate.
Yeah, they seemingly can't get away from each other, which is something that I'm not used to seeing. Usually, once you get enough laps in, everyone is roughly the same distance apart.
Is indeed great racing here. Do want to thank everybody that has it tuned in. We've got a great crowd again here tonight, Ryan. Do want to thank all of our subscribers. We got to a milestone as a channel, Ryan. Between our last 2 broadcasts, 1,000 subscribers, and we've got more. We've got more since. We're up to about 1,040. Do want to thank everybody out there that's rang the bell, that's joined us for more high-quality IndyCar iRacing action. If you haven't already done so, please remember to ring the bell, smash the like button on the video. That does help us out. But we are at 1,000, Ryan, and that's such a wonderful feeling headed for Indianapolis. Yellow on the track. Will Stearns. Yellow on the track. Will Stearns has crashed heavily in turn number it appears to be turn number 2. He's got Hugo Gallas down there as well. Let's see what's happened to Grandpa here in the middle stages of this race. He's running along. Is that Joseph Morales there, Ryan? He's running along with?
Yeah, it is Morales.
All righty. So here we go. We're going to head down into turn 1. And there's plenty of space in there. Morales just washes up low from the low line. Grabs a piece of Grandpa. Hard into the wall for Stearns. And then I'm going to guess that Hugo was just a victim of... Hugo's just going to be a victim of circumstance here. We're going to ride on board the 57 of Hugo Gallas. And unfortunately for Nick Wheeler, the yellow came about 10 laps too late. There you see the 2 cars make contact in front. Morales is able to continue on, and then just horrid netcode there makes Hugo a victim of circumstance. He's another guy that's been running extremely well of late. That VOR team has been pretty solid of recent. So tough breaks for Stearns and Gallas. Meanwhile, everybody else is going to visit the pit lane with, how about this? And I would have bet you a shiny nickel that Nick Wheeler was not going to come into the pit lane. He did not, so he'll be back on the lead lap. Although he's going to have 8-lap-old tires, and we are now officially a one-stop race from here. Right? Correct, Ryan?
Yeah, you can make it to the end on one more stop. Let's see.
You can now. Now Wheeler's the lucky.
Yeah, Wheeler is coming in.
Yeah, he's the lucky dog here, so he does get to pit the next time. So he's going to come in and grab tires and fuel. It's not the pure wave around that you're used to. Mark Cohn, he's going to come in as well and just top his tanks. Just top his tanks up. If you're looking at it from a fuel perspective here, we've got 77 to go. It might be that you can make it with one more stop and do both stints full tilt now, Ryan. So we watch the pit stops.
You should be able to just push.
Yeah, we're not quite halfway, so we're not going to leave laps to go up there. But I did want to check it. I did go to Ball State. My math skills are not the greatest, but do want to kind of just point that out. We might be in a situation where we can be full push to the end. Again, do want to thank everybody out there that's watching the race with us. Mike Rigney, Rick Ravon in the house. We do have the Clindy heads in the audience as well, and as always want to thank them. If you haven't already done so, remember, ring the bell to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button so that you can be notified for all future iRacing broadcasts on the P1 Broadcasting Network. We are 1 day away from the best month of the year. We're going to get in the flag stand with Barney. We're going to watch a restart, and then we're going to talk about exactly what we've got coming up, because May is huge here at P1. This is kind of the month that we live for, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, best month of the year for IndyCar fans.
It most certainly is. There we go. We do have the field off and running again. Matty Wagner got the drop. Hugo Gallows gets back on the track, as does Will Stearns. They are both going to be 3 laps down. Clindy, he's going to try to feature the high side. He might try to take the lead for Wagner, thinks better of it. He'll fall into the clutches of Micah Mixer. Meanwhile, Craig Forsyth has dropped to the bottom of Alex Miller, moved the old pro up to 4th, and when you see that powder blue and white coming toward the front, Ryan, that can spell trouble for everybody else.
Yeah, without a doubt. When you see Forsyth charging through the field, you know he's on a mission.
Yeah, most certainly so. Do want to kind of point out that we are going to have, we are going to have dueling streams tonight. The iRacing IndyCar Series is going to go live from Barber. That's a midweek show this week. It's going to be live from Barber at 9 o'clock tonight. So we're going to have double streams. Our fearless leader, Gary Godso, is going to have that one. That's going to be at 9 o'clock. We're going to have the AMA Archway Industrial Truck Series, as well as the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. Pre-race 820, race 835. That's going to be Sam Crow and I Thursday and Friday night. That's going to be from Texas. That's going to be a ton of fun, and I bet Mike Rigney watches those. He loves the stock cars, man. And what's cool about that, Ryan, is we've got stock car guys from AMA. They're going over to run ISRA, the ISRA series, the Sim Gaming Expo ISRA series. We've got some of those guys coming over to run this series. We've got Dark Horse and the Votive series cooperating to run both their schedules on Sunday nights. This is getting to be a pretty fun time. Ryan, you didn't miss much. There've been a couple of cautions. Matty Wagner has led throughout. Clindy has carved his way up to second. Micah Mixer has been the big mover. We focused on Micah a little bit. He started 15th. He's up to 3rd, Ryan. That's a pretty big haul at a place like Nashville.
Especially for its series debut.
So that is the multicolored machine of Micah Mixer. Shows him with a 3,100 I rating, so he is definitely well above average. Certainly not the 6,500 of the man that runs in front of him. But Micah Mixer, certainly a capable guy, and he's run that rainbow-hued machine right up toward the front. But he's got a boatload of trouble coming behind him because Craig Forsyth looks really, really, really fast.
Yeah, the issue is when you start to get up to the pointy end of the field, the dirty air becomes a bit dirtier because the cars around you are a lot faster.
Well, I don't know. Rick said that Rick Ravon said that you know, that Clindy is going to catch Matty Wagner. He's got the speed. I don't disagree that Clindy has the speed, but I think Clindy's got bigger issues than trying to catch Wags. He has got an absolute rearview mirror full of Micah Mixer.
Oh, and that is not the line you want to take if you want to maintain second place.
Yes, it is. He's got it right down on the bottom. Clindy is trying to run the top, but you can hear him. You can hear Clinworth getting out of the power because he can't exactly run it wide open. He's got the dirty air of Matt Wagner in front of him, and Wags is I would assume, Wagner is not an unintelligent guy. He knows the people he's fighting, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Matt Wagner move up a groove or two here, just to kind of throw a little bit of dirty air at the road racing machine of Kyle Clinworth. Not out of any animus, but hey, if that's a fast guy behind me and I can slow him down, that's all within the rules of the game, right, Ryan?
Very, very true. And we're still about 10 laps or so away, but we're getting close to the pit window opening for the last stop.
We are. We're also getting close. We have also passed. Forget close. We have also passed the halfway mark. 64 laps remaining. We're going to have one more pit stop. I would anticipate, Ryan, that's going to happen with about 30 to go. And the other fun part about that is we're going to get to see short fill stops under green flag conditions, and those are always a ton of fun, Ryan.
Especially under green, it's about, getting on and off pit road as fast as possible.
Yeah, it's getting on and off pit road as fast as possible. It is also for our fans at home who can work the calculator the fastest. Here's a guy that can work the calculator in the race car. That's Craig Forsyth. I guarantee you, he already knows exactly down to the ounce how much alcohol he needs to put in that machine. Others that are really good and sneaky at stuff like that. How about Mark Cohn? Cohn's a guy that is known from the Lionheart racing circles. He is very experienced. He is not a guy who does a lot of official racing, so you won't see him in the top splits or anything like that. But he is very confident, and he is very competent, and he is also a very strategic racer. I've run as part of his LC Motorsports team in the Dark Horse DW12 series that we're going to have on Sunday nights. That's going to team up with the Votive Racing League. They're going to run at 8 Eastern with Gary Godso on the call. Beginning May the 6th is when the Dark Horse opener is, and that's DW12s. But Cohn is a very cerebral racer. It would not surprise me to see him have a go at some sort of a fuel strategy. Craig Forsyth, a better fuel saver than Scott Dixon? I don't know about that. But he is very, very good at knowing exactly what number he needs in order to get to the end. And he's now joined the top 4. Well, really the top 5 now, wouldn't you say? Ryan, the top 5 are just about equidistant apart, half a second between them as they run?
Yeah, about. So, this is kind of like the formation I'm used to with racing around Nashville, with everyone roughly a second apart down the track.
Yeah, it is. So really the top 5 are just all that half second deal. And I bet if we got in the P1 airship, we would see the entire field more or less just kind of in a conga line, just about half second apart. Jeff Heisong and Nick Wheeler are the only battle on the speedway. This is for a 10th. Heisong wants it, or Heisong has it. Wheeler wants it, but Wheeler is not going to have it. The high side, again, it proves to be too strong, Ryan.
Yeah, it's like the high side, it hurts your lap time overall, but if you want to carry speed off the corner and keep someone behind you, it's the way to go.
Yeah, it is indeed. Like I said, it's kind of like Iowa or Richmond. If you can keep somebody pinned down on that bottom, you can make it awfully difficult for them to pass, unless it's for the lead. If it's for the lead and you've got clean air down there, you do have an advantage. But if it's in traffic, it is awfully hard to hold that car down on the bottom without lifting. Look at how high Jeff Hysong gets coming off of turn number 2, Ryan.
Yeah, it is a bit aggressive of a strategy for taking the high line.
It is, and all they're doing is really hurting the tires on those cars. And I get why Nick Wheeler wants to get forward. He was running up at the front of this deal not too long ago. The caution did not fall as he needed it. Nick Wheeler, finally, I think he might have it if he can clear him here. Not quite though, Ryan.
No, not at all.
On board with Hysong. Now Wheels has it. So looking on board with Hysong. So Wheeler has affected the pass. Put Nick Wheeler up to 10th. Mark Cohn, he goes to the inside of Brian Greenlee. Mark Cohn feeling racy. The watchman, he's got the stopwatch out. He knows the score. He's going to make a move on Brian Greenlee. We were just talking about how smart he was. I think Mark's figured out it's time to go. He gets by Greenlee, and now he's going to have some clean air because he's 2 seconds behind Jari Brubaker. That actually works out to Cohn's advantage here, Ryan.
As you say that, Nick Wheeler's going to try to make it a 2-for-1 deal.
Yes, he is. There's Wheeler. He's on the back, all over the back of Brian Greenlee. Caution is on the speedway. We have caution. Micah Mixer is backwards in turn number 2. That is kind of a familiar refrain. I think either the front stretch or turn 2 have been the cause of the calamity this evening. And let's see what's happened with Micah Mixer.
Seems like him and Forsyth made contact, and I use contact in the loosest possible term.
Yeah, there we go down into turn number 1, and I'm not gonna say we're gonna let the fans watch the replay, but there was no contact. The contact was a figment of the server's imagination, which happens. That's part of online racing. But Craig Forsyth had an entire car, or not an entire, he had an entire wheel width between those two machines, and there it goes. So just a tough break for Micah Mixer. Thankfully, nobody else collects Micah. He'll be able to come down, affect the fast repair, and he'll stay on the lead lap. But just a tough break for Micah Mixer involved. So that means everybody is going to hit the pit lane, and now the question becomes, can anybody make it, Ryan?
Oh, it's going to be a bit dicey here. Yes, you could make it, but you're not going to be able to push 100% of the way.
No, I mean you're talking about leaning the motor all the way out. We're going to get green with 45 to go. I kind of thought that 45 would be the biggest stretch. That would be full lean and very, very cautious to be able to make it that far. If there is anybody in the field that can do it, you're looking at Clinworth, you're looking at Wagner, you're looking at Forsyth. They are the front runners anyway. And one more time, this man right here, Nick Wheeler, has elected to stay out. So he's not going to play the fuel games. Nick Wheeler is going to stay out. He wants the clean air. He wants to lead this baby.
I don't see the game plan here. I'm going to be honest.
I mean, it could work. I mean, it's one of those. He's got more fuel on board than the last time he tried it. He's thinking either this is going to cut either one of two ways for Wheeler. Either nobody can make it, and if they can't make it, then everybody's got one more stop anyway. And he figures, well, I'll split essentially he would be splitting the stint in two. Come in, put light fuel and a new pair of shoes on, and see if he can't run away while everybody else goes slow. Kind of the tortoise and the hare situation. The other would be, he's thinking, if there's another yellow in if there's another yellow in 10 laps or so, he's the leader. Right?
Yes, yeah.
So, because everybody would pit. The tires go away here so much that the tires go away here so very much that that it's, you know, it's almost mandatory that a pit stop happens. Meanwhile, it's mandatory that we throw the green flag. We get back to racing. Micah Mixer has the black flag, and I'm assuming that is for entering a closed pit. So Micah will have to go to the back. That has been served as of now. Off to the green we go. Nick Wheeler leads it, but this is the story right here. He's been out 30 laps. He's going to have to bring that car to pit lane within the next 20, Ryan.
Yeah, because we saw during his first attempt that he made it 50 laps, well, 49 to be precise.
Yes, he did. Do want to let everybody know we are still accepting entries for the inaugural P1 Broadcasting 600. That's going to be contested June the 7th, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. Free to enter. Anybody can enter. We're going to select 40. We're going to select up to 43 cars. Open setups, 600 kilometers. I fully expect Ryan Eric King to be in that race at Michigan if he can find a setup. Clindy makes the move.
Finding a setup won't be a problem.
Clindy moves to the inside of Matt Wagner, but Wags is hanging tough on that outside, and he manages to keep second place from Clindy. The Clindy heads cheering him on, but I don't know that Clindy's going to be able to get there. This is effectively the race for the lead once Wheeler pits, which we anticipate is going to happen in just about 15 laps time.
Yeah, it's the race for the lead as long as they don't make contact.
It is, but we saw the netcode issue with Micah Mixer, right? And this track is known to have netcode issues. Some tracks have them more than others. Indianapolis, you very rarely see netcodes, for example. iRacing Super Speedway, you will get netcodes that are the width of an entire car.
Oh.
Caution is on the Speedway. Mark Cohn has come to grief, this time on the other end of the track. That's turn number 3. He's going to get it to pit lane. He does not have the fast repair any longer. So this might be the end of the night for MC. And it appears as though he got really high coming out of 2. And what happens next, Ryan?
Yard Brubaker makes contact with Cohn's left rear, and there's a bit of air between the two cars, but Mark Cohn ends up punted into the wall.
Yeah, that was definitely another netcode situation. There wasn't nearly as much air between the two cars that time, but it was definitely a situation where there was space there. Just a tough break for Mark Cohn, and he has already punched out of the 39 machine. But that was the break that Nick Wheeler needed last time, because he's going to come in, he's going to make his stop. Now everybody else is going to still be running around here saving fuel. Wheeler is going to be absolutely, as they used to say back in the old fighter planes in World War II, the Korean War. He's going to get to push the balls to the walls and go as quick as he absolutely pleases. Meanwhile, you're also going to have pit stops from Jeff Hysong, and that appears to be Joseph Morales back there. Those guys are going to come in and get some gas. I'm sure that the front runners can make it now, but they might have to still run fairly lean. The other bit is, I don't know that I'd want to be leading this baby, Ryan.
Yeah, right now in this moment, especially on a restart, because here we talk about dirty air, but on restarts where we're going slower than usual, we're all bunched up closer than usual, it is far easier to make moves.
It most certainly is. So you'll want to turn it up for the restart. You'll also want to make sure you get going so you don't get run over from behind. The other thing that people don't realize too about about these cars and fuel in general is, for our fans at home, you burn 30 to 40% more fuel on a get up to speed lap than you do when the car is at speed. So, for example, the rule of thumb at, let's say, Michigan, for example, is about a half a gallon a lap. Rule of thumb, right, Ryan? Full speed, full push, half gallon. The get up to speed lap, you might burn 3/4 of a gallon. Or 7/10 of a gallon, something like that. I'd have to pull the numbers out. But you do burn a substantial amount of fuel getting up to speed. It doesn't eliminate what you save under caution, but just know if you're trying to figure the fuel close, you need to put that into your calculus. How many restarts you've done? You may need a little bit more than you think.
Yeah, that has caught me out a time or two where I realized that due to like a bunch of restarts near the end, I'm maybe a quarter to half a lap short.
Yeah, and that's something that these guys are going to need to figure. I think one more yellow, they're going to be okay. But if it goes green from here, Nick Wheeler, he might be in the catbird seat because he's going to restart 10th, and he's going to have fresh boots, and he's going to have all the fuel he needs to go absolutely full tilt toward the front. At the end, we're going to have 39 laps to go. We're going to get in the Mike Rigney seat to watch this restart. Barney's got the green flag in the air, and racing is about ready to resume at Nashville. 38 laps to go when they get the line this time, Ryan.
Green flag, green flag.
Will Stearns in the chat, he says netcode is out in full force tonight. Yes, it is. But the cars look amazing under the lights. It was actually kind of a tricky situation during practice, just because of the atmospheric conditions in the sim. It was foggy out here, Ryan, when we got loaded in about 20 minutes before the race started.
Yeah, it was foggy with the setting sun. The fog looked orange. It looked like a wildfire.
Yeah, it did. Thankfully, those conditions have dissipated. We've got clear skies, and we can see the chrome coming out of these cars now. We've got Kyle Clinworth. He's trying to bring it toward the front. Big time move to the inside there from Wagner. That's going to slow up Clindy. Meanwhile, Craig Forsyth, he's going to try to grab second.
Yeah, they're still hanging side by side through 4.
Clindy's going to hold him off. Forsyth, he might only get one more run at that. He's going to need to make it. He's going to need to make it past Clinworth, and I think the only way he's going to get by Alex Miller, very high off of turn number 2. He's going to need to make that move on the high side, I think.
Yeah, it's hard to get clear making a movement down the inside. You really have to rely on the car up top and making a mistake.
Yeah, and those are two of the best in the business. Matt Wagner and Kyle Clinworth. Craig Forsyth is third. You will not find 3 finer drivers in the sim than those 3. There will not be a mistake, especially after what happened with Wagner last night. He had a car that was absolutely amazing in that Area 51 finale. He was running second, and then some doofus on his inside collapsed the weight jacker about 20 feet too early and understeered right up into him. And cleaned him out. But Wagner had that race won, and so he's been plenty racy, plenty fast lately. Here he is in the lead. He's got Clindy behind him, Forsyth in third. Alex Miller has made it to 4th. And how about Gary Lovern? He was wrecked 100 laps ago after sitting on the pole. He's back to 5th. We've got Brian Greenlee. He was rapidly dropping through the order. Brian Greenlee has brought it to the pit lane. Let's see if we can see what's happened to Brian. Don't know if this is a fuel issue, a mechanical issue. He just seems to be bringing it toward pit lane. Ryan, do you have any more on Brian Greenlee? Did he say anything, or is there something?
Yeah, it seemed like he hit the turn 4 wall on the exit.
Okay, so it was a little bit before we were able to go back and look at it. Meanwhile, Clindy still second, still trying to track down Wagner for the lead. Craig Forsyth is still third. The front three have broken clear of Alex Miller by just a little bit. There you see it. That's about 0.8 of a second between Forsyth and Miller. The front three all over each other. 29 laps to go. Just as an incidental note, Nick Wheeler has only gained one spot, and that was the spot off of Greenlee. So he has not been able to pull the new tires and the light fuel forward in that number 88 as we might have expected, Ryan.
No, I think just the other competitors near the front are just too fast. Like, if the offset was larger, maybe you would have stood a better chance.
Yeah, I think the tire differential is 9 laps. He was in the back anyway, so why not go for it, right? But he was going to be in the back anyway, and he had to stop on fuel. So that was kind of his bed, and he laid in it. I think he thought you might have got some more people that would have come. But track position, as we've seen here, is absolutely king. Matty Wagner still leads it from Kyle Clinworth, Craig Forsyth. Alex Miller is firmly ensconced in fourth, and Gary Lovern has battled back to fifth. But the battle just continues to rage for second. Wagner is getting away a little bit, but Clindy is not getting away from Craig.
Yeah, it's going to be a question of how this plays out, because while they're fighting each other, it's not like Wagner's getting threatened out front.
No, and that's a huge thing, especially at a track that chews up tires. If you're the leader, the guys behind you are fighting. You can turn it down a little bit. You don't work the car near as hard. You don't have to turn the car as hard off the right rear or the right front. You can do what Wags is doing. You can move the car up, a half a lane or something like that, just so you're not working it as hard. You might not need to shift. There you see Wagner's not shifting in the corners, as we've seen. He's being very smooth. And ultimately, that means that if and when those two guys get there, you've got a lot more to fight with than you would if you would have. You've got a lot more to fight with than if you would have gone flat out.
Oh, 100%.
These are great pictures. Do want to thank Whiplash SimCams one more time for the angles. We're watching off the back of leader Matt Wagner. Kyle Clinworth is in hot pursuit. He's got a rear view mirror full of Craig Forsyth, and then from there on back, everything is pretty much singled out. The only other battle on the track is right here, Nick Wheeler and Mason Mitchum. Mitchum is on the fresh tires. Wheeler is on the fresh tires. He is now gotten by teammate Mason Mitchum. Wheeler is going to look off. He's going to look out the front. But that is a big-time deficit to Micah Mixer. 2.7 seconds.
Yeah, 2.7 seconds feels like another county at this place.
Yeah, I mean, it's at a 1.3 mile track. You're a quarter mile behind at that distance, and there you see it visually represented. The thing with Wheeler is he should be able to cut some fast laps. He is more or less running the same speed as the leaders now. Micah Mixer is basically a full tenth slower, so Wheeler needs to get it going. He's going to reel Mixer in pretty quick, but once he gets to him, is he going to be out of time to pass him? Meanwhile, the battle up here continues to rage. Clinworth, he's on the outside. Forsyth to the inside, and Rick, you're not wrong. Wagner to the high side. Clindy is going to run to the bottom. Big mistake from Matt Wagner.
And we have a three-way fight for the lead.
Woo! No! Door gets slammed. Clinworth wiggles Wagner out of the way. Wagner trying to feel the car out, see if it's okay. Forsyth, he's going to drop to the bottom.
Absolute scene.
Forsyth is going to get by Wagner. He's going to fall under fire from Alex Miller, and Miller gets by. Here's the move from Clinworth. Wagner on the top, Clindy on the bottom. Now that would have been contact. And it's a matter of...
That was contact, without a doubt.
That was contact. Now, a couple of things, right? We are not race control, so we're not going to say anything. We don't have anything to say about that. But there are a couple of things, right? Looking at Clindy's car, is the nose affected? Is there damage to the front wing of the number 11? I don't see any. Certainly there are no scuff marks apparent. Matt Wagner has dropped into the pit lane, and so clearly there's damage on the number 6 machine, but that's given the lead to Clindy. And Forsyth is now second. He will attempt to chase down Clinworth. This remains the best battle on the racetrack. Nobody else really is in close attendance. Maybe Micah Mixer on Gary Lovern.
Like, barring a caution, that seems like it was likely the move for the win.
You know, it would seem. Now, don't count Craig Forsyth out. He's going to back it up. He's going to cool the tires off. And that's what happens when you cool the tires off. That's what happens in a situation like that. Forsyth, he's not under any fire from anybody, so he's going to back it up. He's going to cool the tires off. He's going to try to make one more run at Clinworth. Meanwhile, Mixer spins it. Caution is out on the speedway, and this changes everything.
I swear, every time I say X thing could happen, unless there's a caution, there's a caution.
Yeah, and we were watching it live. Micah Mixer was going around the bottom of Gary Lovern. That was a self-spin. There was absolutely nobody around, and I think that's just a weight jacker too high moment for Micah Mixer. He'll loop it around. He doesn't hit anything. No harm done. He'll come in and get a fresh set of boots. But that's a big cost to track position for Micah Mixer. Meanwhile, Matt Wagner still sits on pit road. His car may have been more heavily damaged than we thought. So there's your choice. Craig Forsyth is going to come to the pit lane. Clindy is going to stay out.
Now, when they cross the line, we'll have 10 laps to go. And, dummy.
Craig's going to dummy it. Now, you've got to enter in turn 3. You don't have to. You can come back out on the track. And so, no harm, no foul there for Forsyth. He saw that nobody was going to come in with him. Forsyth pulls it back onto the speedway. Morales, High Song, Micah Mixer are all in the pits. But everybody from the leader back to P7, they're going to remain on their 39-lap old tires, except for Nick Wheeler. So Wheeler and High Song have 10-lap fresher rubber than those around them. So keep an eye on that. We're going to get the restart with, 8 laps to go, Ryan?
Yeah. Yes, 8 laps to go, and it'll be a dash for it all.
Yeah, we're going to have 8 laps, so roughly 12 miles. The dash for the cash is going to happen. It'll be Clinworth versus Forsyth. Alex Miller, I suspect, will be an interesting observer. With as much netcode as we've had tonight, you don't want to take that for granted. You've got Canada versus Washington D.C. area, and that plays into it too. By the time it gets from Craig in the Great Frozen North to Boston to Clindy in Maryland, back to Boston and back to the frozen tundra, crazy things happen over the internet, and this is the best online internet simulation in the world. But netcode happens, and so you always have to put that in your calculus, don't you, Ryan?
Yeah, there's no, unless you're physically tethered to the other computer with an Ethernet cable, there will always be latency.
And we take it for granted at how good the system is at dealing with it. We're talking about, microseconds to send a signal, several thousand miles and back. The issue is that when you're dealing with cars traveling at 220 miles an hour, an inch from one another, even the best calculations, the best servers in the world are going to sometimes get it wrong. I'm not our good friend JP, so we're not going to bet on this one, but it is going to be interesting between the top two, Ryan. The old pro and the young gun are going to have at it one more time.
Green, green, green.
And Clinworth goes early.
Yeah, he went very early. Here's Forsyth. Now, that can be a blessing and a curse if you go early, Ryan. We're going to be on board with Forsyth. That can be a blessing and a curse. Because if you go early, you give the guy behind you that much more of a suck. The approach speed is going to be higher. And he gets a better look at your corner entry to not get himself fed the dirty air. But Craig doesn't seem to be hunting the clean air on the high side. He's following right in the tire tracks of the 11.
Yeah, he wants to sprint at Clinworth head on, so to speak.
He does indeed. The question is, does Wagner have a fast repair left? He does. He has elected to not return to the racetrack, and that's, Matty is the series director, and he's made it very clear that he, in the past, that he doesn't wish to win his own races. It's kind of like winning the door prize at your birthday party, and so Matty has elected to hit the pit lane and stay out of the fight for the lead, which is a good one. Clindy has the lead, and he is setting purple lap after purple lap. He's got Craig Forsyth right in his tire tracks, attempting to take it away. They were nearly identical that last time through. The difference in lap time, Ryan, 0.004, 4 thousandths of a second.
Yeah. If Forsyth wants to challenge for the lead, he's going to need a bit larger of a delta, and I think he can get it.
Yeah, he's coming. There was visible closure there. Looking off the back of Clindy, there was visible closure from Craig Forsyth. He's got it down now to just a little over a tenth. Forsyth with the purple lap. Craig had him by a full tenth that time. Forsyth is now going off into the higher groove. He's going to try to see if he can't make a run at Clinworth. 2 laps to go this time. I just don't know that you can mount much of a run here against a guy that's rapid and has that top line. Meanwhile, there is a mess back here. I hate to cut away from the battle for the lead, but there are 5 or 6 cars that are on top of each other. Clindy has the white flag. They are 3 wide. That's Brubaker, Wheeler, and Joseph Morales. They are 3 wide. They're still 3 wide going through turn 2. This could be interesting, Ryan. Micah Mixer's going to wheel it up into 6th. You don't see 3 wide at
across the
NASHVILLE.
line to take the win.
But you couldn't take your eyes off of that. Clindy will win it. Forsyth second. Miller third. Lovren fourth. And then a snarling herd from 5th to 11th. We're going to have to figure that out. So give us a moment, and we'll have the results for you momentarily. That turned out to be a pretty cool end to that race there, Ryan.
Oh, thrilling. Like, I didn't even know you could run 3 wide here.
And why would you try it? Is the other question. I wouldn't have even thought to have tried it, Ryan. So we're gonna go ahead and get the results in here. It's going to be Kyle Clinworth. Surprise, surprise. He's going to be the winner tonight. Craig Forsyth, in a shocker, is going to be second. Alex Miller will round out your top three. And the podium, Gary Lover in fourth. Nick Wheeler brings it home with a fine fifth with the alternate strategy. Micah Mixer, he battles up to sixth after a late race spin. Joseph Morales, a fine run for him in seventh. Gary Brubaker starts from the pit lane, comes home eighth. Jeff Heisong and Mason Mitchum. Say that 3 times fast after you've talked all day. He's going to come home 10th. In 11th, Hugo Gallas. Matty Wagner is going to be classified 12th after leading much of the event. Brian Greenlee, Mark Cohn, Will Stearns, Josh Ward are going to be your final finishers. Shane Coker is not credited with a start. He was race control. Do appreciate everybody's patience while we get some replays queued up here. There we go. We'll get the results out. There's Alex Miller on your screen, and we do not have an Alex Miller in the booth. So with that said, we will give Alex his due. If he elects to come into the waiting room, we will absolutely interview him. But we don't want to hold up the show, and so we'll get Craig Forsyth in here, and we'll talk to Craig.
Alex has just arrived.
There's Alex. Okay, well, we will talk to Alex. Alex, I didn't want to sell you short. But we were gonna talk to Craig, and just as soon as we put Craig up on the screen, as luck would have it, here you are. A fine run to third. Kind of talk about your day, your night, and how it was out there.
Honestly, there's not much to talk about. I think I made like one actual overtake in that entire race. I kind of just got lucky with others' misfortune with incidents, particularly Josh Ward, which really sucks because he was actually gaining on me for P2 in the points there for a while. So that really sucks for him. And yeah, congrats Clendy on the championship. He now has it clinched after that. So I struggled through practice with finding settings that worked. But around like the midpoint in the race, the track finally started clicking with me, and I finally got settings that worked. And from there, I just kind of drove until the end.
Very good, Ryan. Do you have anything for Mr. Miller this evening?
Yeah, well, Alex, you talked about only making one overtake. How were the conditions out there? Because it seemed like passing was at a premium, and we got the typical Nashville dirty air.
Yeah, it was a Nashville race at Nashville that I went in expecting that we probably weren't going to be making many overtakes in that race. So I kind of just figured that's what was going to happen. I didn't go in with high hopes. So, I mean, I can't be mad at the podium because I started ninth, and when I saw I started ninth, I was like, I'm not even getting a top 5 in this race. So I'll take my podium, and hopefully we can round out the season with another one at Indy next week.
Absolutely. That is the big one, Alex. We do thank you for stopping in the booth. My apologies. We almost sold you short. Friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs. The floor is yours, my man.
As always, shout out to the Taylor Mills Racing crew, especially lately. I've had some poor results on iRacing lately and have been going through it, and they've been there for me every step of the way. And shout out to P1 for the broadcast, and Matt and everyone at voted. This isn't wrong league. That's on Sundays. Horizon, who puts the leagues on this league on. And again, congrats Clendy on winning the championship. He was the driver this season.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for stopping by, and we will see you next week. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy.
Yeah, hopefully you will see me next week.
Yes, sir. And as Alex Miller, he is going to be credited with second on the evening, or for third on the evening. Second place is going to be this man right here, the familiar teal and white, or the familiar powder blue and white, rather. 40 Racewear liveried machine for Craig. Craig Forsyth. The red gloves got to second. Couldn't quite get Clindy at the end. You were catching him, but what would it have taken to have gotten by him?
I needed more tires, and I needed to not have my typical old man restart that put me on the back foot for the first couple laps while I played catch up there. No, I saw. I think it was three or four laps from the end. Kyle was starting to wiggle on his exits, and that I was like, ooh, I have a chance. And then it was like, I think 2 corners later, I started wiggling, and I'm like, oh, that was the end of both of our tires. Okay. So that, yeah, no, it was a good. I completely abused my tires the first stint. I went far too extreme on my settings, trying to push it, and thank goodness there was a caution for that pit cycle, because it let me go into my weight jacker and take it back down to normal, real people settings instead of being stupid. So that made the rest of the race a lot better, so that I could actually use my weight jacker again. No, it was a good result. I haven't seen the Kyle Matt incident yet. I didn't even realize what had actually happened. I was unclear why Matt had suddenly slowed and then was in front of me. So I haven't seen it yet to see what happened there. But no, it was a good race. Had a good time. This is my last race for the Wednesday leagues for the summer, because golf season starts. So it's good to go out on a podium, and it's good to see the Horizon guys getting good participation, 17 cars. So yeah, no, had a good time. Happy with the podium, and glad that we were able to put the 40 race car up on the podium, at least, if. Not good enough for the win, but we'll take the podium.
Follow-up question to you, Mr. Forsyth. What is your handicap, sir?
Like plus 20. I am a true hacker. I like to drink golf.
That is the best way to golf. You go out and you go out with a full cooler and a full bag of golf clubs. You come back in with an empty bag and an empty cooler, and the cans and the clubs are probably in the same place. But that's my way to golf. Ryan, do you have anything for Mr. Forsyth this evening? He does like to be called Mr. Forsyth, by the way. He feels as though he's earned it.
I'm unaware of this. I'm not. It's not something I'm used to.
Mr. Forsyth.
Well, Craig, seeing that this will be your last race of the season, what do you think was your highlight this year in Horizon?
I have the problem that I'm a guppy fish when it comes to this stuff, so I don't remember much beyond what I did yesterday. So my highlight is finishing second in this race.
Fair.
People think I'm joking when I say it, but it's really, really true.
As an example of that, Ryan, I gave him my trick to lapping Homestead, which I've had some really awesome runs at Homestead. Gave Craig my tricks, gave him the setup. We went to Homestead for a race, and he gets on the mic. We were in Discord together. He keys the mic and says, "Murph, how you going so fast, man?" I said, "I told you 3 weeks ago. I gave you my data."
Remember.
He didn't remember. So I had to tell him all over again. With that said, Craig, so good to see you up on the podium, up in the interview room. Friends, family, sponsors, the floor is yours, my man.
No, I got to thank my wife for making
Yes.
my food schedule around my ongoing racing, because she is a true dream when it comes to that stuff. Or she just says you get to cook after the race. It depends on what night it is, but nope, she puts up with this silly night in night out racing I do. And Jim over at 40 Racewear for sponsoring the car, sponsors a lot of leagues, sponsors a lot of the IndyCar stuff. He's a good supporter of this stuff on iRacing, so good on him. And both of you guys, Ryan and Mark, doing the P1 broadcast, thank you for that. And everyone at Horizon first season of the league is going strong. Good to see.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for dropping in, Craig. We'll let you get to dinner and enjoy the rest of your night, my man. Keep going fast and having fun, brother.
You betcha, man. Stay safe, guys.
Yes, sir. That is second place finisher Craig Forsyth, and that's going to bring us to the man of the hour. That's Clindy, and Kyle. The Clindy heads are in the chat. They're waiting. They're awaiting word from their leader. Tell us how you did it tonight, my brother.
I just drove my guts out to try to catch Matt a couple times, and just close racing, hard racing. It's really a shame, in my opinion, that seems like the only way you can pass the leader here is to juke him out and make them think you're going one way and then go another and really put them in a box, right? You either have to make them commit to one line that they don't want to run, where they run kind of like a lazy middle with a low, slow, or like a high, slow entry so they can chop second wherever they end up committing to, or like you fake high and jump low at the last second, and that's like the only way to do it. I just feel bad that I think Matt had committed to that line and I had just committed a little harder. So I'm sure we'll talk and we'll smooth it out, but it's just kind of a familiar sight here at Nashville. I think this is how the VOR race went too, and I don't know. I kind of felt like pulling over as soon as it happened, but I didn't want to make that seem like an admission, I guess. And I just it was just a racing deal, and I feel bad about it, but I don't know what to do or what to say, and I didn't want to clog up the mics. So I'm sure I'll talk to Matt and we'll get it all squared away. But it's just giving everything you can every single lap, 100%. That's what I do every week, week in and week out. And I do it for the people in the chat. I do it for my friends and family, my loved ones. I do it because it's a way for me to feel connected when I'm very far away.
Yeah, man. Feel the same way. Mr. Ryan Eric King, I know the Rec has a question or two for you. So go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. Speaking about, doing it week in, week out, effectively with today's result, you've clinched the championship.
Yeah, I did a little math before the race wreck. Actually, if I scored 0 points today and 0 points next week, I would still win the championship because you can only score 49 points in a race. So I was more than 98 points ahead before today after you calculate drops. So all I had to do was show up and not get a penalty. So we'll see if I accomplish that. I may not have, but I just want to mind my P's and Q's, and I'll hash it out in a professional manner behind closed curtains with Matt, because he deserves definitely to talk to me about it. I'm not sure if, after looking at the replay, I'm on the fence of it, saying that's just hard racing, right? And I didn't intend to ship him, so I lifted. I did all I could. I wrapped the yellow line, so we will talk about it, and I just want him to know that I feel bad about it, but I don't know if I'm sorry. So those are two different things, right? And grown adults who race cars on the internet can have those discussions together, and they understand. And if he races me differently in the future because of it, I totally understand, and I agree with his decision, quite frankly. Like I said, I'm out here and I put my heart out on the racetrack every single week, and I go 100% every single lap, no matter who's ahead of me and no matter who's behind me. And I just, I try to do things clean and fair, and it wasn't as clean as I needed it to be tonight to look like a deserving champion. So I'll get my act together for Indianapolis next week and go out and log all the laps and get a 0x and not cause any drama. That's my goal, to finish the season on a high note.
Well, I'll tell you what, you are going to finish the season on the high note. You owe a bunch of people a rattle can spray job on that road racing machine. We've got to 1,000 subscribers. You've been a huge part of that. P1 track guides on the side of that machine for road racing. Clindy, any friends, family, sponsors you'd like to shout out to? The floor is yours, my man.
Yeah, so I did try to get that all shipped away Tuesday night after the Oval fixed race, but when I was in the analytics tab on the page, I could only see like 330 subscribers. So I'm going to have to do a little more digging to see how I can get all 1,000 on a page and then pick some of them at random. I know that there are tools out there that exist to allow you to do it from commenters on a single video, but that's just a small scope of everyone who enjoys our content and people who we entertain week in and week out. So I want to make sure that I'm giving everyone a fair shake at getting on the car, and they're going to go right. I haven't decided if they're going to go next to the track guides, like 5 on each side. I think that'd be pretty cool, or maybe on the nose cone underneath like the number in front of the front wheels. So wherever it fits and it won't be super legible just because of the size restraints, but I will know who they are and I will shout them out, and I hope to have that ready by next week. But beyond that, I got to shout out everyone here in Horizon. I've had an absolute blast running this series this year in its inaugural year. I really want to congratulate both Wagner and Josh Ward and Alex Miller on having very strong seasons and having very competitive battles throughout the season. I know Craig's not been here every week and won't continue to be here for the finale, but
he's got to play golf.
Racing with Craig. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to hit the links, right, instead of getting hit by Clindy. So give some, take some, I guess. And then shout out to the Votive Racing League. We're in between seasons right now, but we're going to be splitting Sundays with Dark Horse starting in June. We start with the Votive Indy Derby, which is the biggest race of the year for us. It pays to win, but it's free to enter. So hit up me or Shane Coker, and we'll see if we can get you in the qualifying ranks for that race. A couple of more real quick, just the channel at P1 Murph. Thanks for being my broadcast partner on Mondays. Techtopia Systems, thanks for being a partner of the channel, and the Tuesday night fixed races, and Olive Rogue Racing, and then Olive Rogue Racing. So all of my teammates, even though they don't have the time to race Horizon, we're going to have a really big month of May here, and I got to go test, actually, some queue setups and some race setups and see how those feel now that I got the blood pumping and the juices flowing. So, yeah, that's about it, Murph. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Keep going fast, having fun, Clindy. We will see you next week. And so that is Kyle Clinworth. He's going to be your winner tonight. And, it seems as though the more tracks we go to, Ryan, the more it seems to stay the same. Clindy, clearly the superior driver all throughout the series. Contact tonight notwithstanding. Your thoughts on what we've seen so far and what we can expect in Indianapolis?
I think heading into Indianapolis with the championship decided, we're going to see a lot of people throw a lot of things at the wall to try to win one race.
I think you're right. And the other thing is, Indy is a longer race. It's a 500 kilometer affair, so 125 laps. At the speedway, that's a long time. That's essentially 4 full fuel runs. It is a bit of an economy run, so you are going to have to save some. But the other thing about distance at Indy is that if there is a weakness in the arsenal of Kyle Clinworth, and we've seen it in the past, it's been long distance. It's been the 500 kilometers, the 500-mile races. Those do tend to trip him up, and so we'll see if that makes any difference in Indy. We'll see if we don't get some Indianapolis specialists out there. We'll also see if some of the guys that maybe haven't been around the car for a while, or guys that are in a situation where they're just getting back acclimated to it. Indianapolis is a track that we run so much, and I kind of alluded to it earlier in the broadcast, Ryan. Indy is a track that we run so much that it is basically muscle memory. And so is a guy like Mark Cohn, who's been at this game for a long, long time, is he going to be able to find some speed just based on the reflexes of having made so many thousands of laps? We're going to find out next week, 8 o'clock Eastern. Upcoming on the P1 Broadcasting Network, Gary Godso and crew do have the IndyCar iRacing IndyCar Series event live from Barber on right now. Tomorrow and Friday night, Sam Crow and I, we're going to feature the AMA. The AMA Grand National Series is going to go tomorrow, and the AMA Truck Series, the flagship, is going to go Friday. Both of those broadcasts start at 8:20, race at 8:35. And then I believe, Ryan, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't want to sell I don't want to sell them short. So you want to check out the Elite Racing League, the Elite Racing Network, and the Velocity Online Racing channel. Both of those are P1 crews for their IndyCar series, and so do want to direct you over to them. I can't recall if they have racing this week or not. So shame on me. And then we'll be right back, as Clindy said, Monday night with the Indy Open broadcast. That's 8 a.m. Eastern, 9:35, the nightcap for the ISRA, the Sim Gaming Expo ISRA series. Tuesday night, the flagship Indy Oval Series, 8:15 with Gary Godso and friends. And then next Wednesday, we're going to be right back here, Ryan, for the Horizon IndyCar season inaugural season finale. 500 kilometers at the greatest race course in the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For Ryan Eric King, Garrett Godso, our founder, and everybody at the P1 Broadcasting channel, do want to thank all of the first responders, the military, police, fire, EMTs, the nurses, all the people that do the hard work in the middle of the night so that we can sleep soundly. We do thank you, Ryan. You're a beautiful wreck, but I'm tired. It's time to hit the hay.
I did not expect that ending. I did not expect to see a chrome horn for the win.
You know, it is. It's a product of Nashville, but you know, we'll see. Wags and Clindy are good friends, so I'm sure they'll hash it out, and we will see them next week. Good night, everybody.